Think global, act local in your settlement. The sovereign element, farmers, growers, and residents. Clean, lean, green development. The sovereign element.
Food labels. Can a genetically modified fruit be construed as an imitation? By J.L. Gallion, Sovereign Element, March 7th, 2013. With a growing movement of people calling for the labeling of genetically modified and genetically engineered foods, it is a wonder why nobody has yet attempted to use the U.S. code governing the food supply already in place. According to Title 21, Chapter 9, Subchapter 4, Section 343, 2C of the United States Code, quote, "A food shall be deemed to be misbranded if it is an imitation of another food, unless its label bears, in type of uniform size and prominence, the word imitation, and immediately thereafter the name of the food imitated." If a genetically modified fruit is not what it appears to be, a naturally growing fruit, then is this genetically modified fruit not an imitation of real fruit? If a genetically modified fruit is an imitation of real fruit, then is the genetically modified fruit not misbranded? If you spend any time reading United States Code regarding food, then it becomes apparent the guidelines or the laws governing the labeling of food are long and complicated. The Food and Drug Administration, with cooperation and integration from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Environmental Protection Agency, and councils formed by presidential executive orders, has created a monstrosity of difficult-to-follow acts, statutes, regulations, rulings, and enforcement actions, making any clear-cut standards on labeling food open-ended at best. From definitions to exemptions, the Secretary of the Food and Drug Administration has unilateral determination of many factors within the application of the U.S. Code. By the judgment of the Secretary, he can define and establish the standard and identity for any food, except when it comes to fresh or dried fruits and fresh or dried vegetables. If you want to take the time to dig deeper in the code, you will find the Secretary can also determine levels of poison and toxicity in foods and can make exemptions as well. One clear, straightforward directive when it comes to labeling food are things like expiration dates, ingredients, and information including serving size, calories, sugar, protein, total fat, cholesterol, and sodium. It is not mandatory to label whether a food product is organic, and as far as I can tell, you do not have to claim things like gluten-free, for example if your product is gluten-free. Corn chips do not have gluten, yet they are not required to declare gluten-free on their label. However, despite optional labeling requirements, many companies that offer organic, gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, fair trade, or other notable attributes in favor of value, like health and well-being, do label their products as such for easy recognition and a sense of common courtesy. According to the FDA, there are three types of labeling concerns: health claims, nutrient content claims, and structure-function claims. All three of these label types deal with claims by the companies selling the products, both food and drug. This is distinct from the U.S. Code and is laid out on the FDA's website. These labels only deal with claims. The content of the food is ruled out of consideration here, and as far as a component of the food, like a nutrient, is not being claimed to have a certain health effect, structure, or function, in which case it will be listed on the label. The United States Department of Agriculture has an organic labeling criteria and standards set and in practice. The difference with this label is that it does not list contents or nutrition, but merely says USDA Organic. This particular program is a good step, although many critics have legitimate questions and concerns about it. The USDA program is stepping up where the FDA legislation seems to be lacking or not quite clearly evident in the language or lack of language in regards to organic versus artificial or genetically engineered food or ingredients. It appears the answer to food labeling is by having it done with the power of the companies producing the food, the wholesalers, distributors, and retailers, and the people. There are independent organizations already in place and working with governments to voluntarily create better standards and application. In the end, if you want to have a choice of healthy food, free from toxic chemicals and cancerous additives, the power of your purchase from certified producers and dealers is what will fuel the improvement. The standards in place by the U.S. Code can be honored and exceeded by the excellence of the people. Waiting for more regulations and statutes to be added to the already burgeoning pages of code will only prolong the necessary actions. It has taken nearly 2 decades for the organic, raw and clean food market to emerge. This is only the beginning of a healthier and improved lifestyle and food source for the people. The people are already creating the networks, companies and products, growing the organics and labeling it themselves. Our support with the power of the purchase is where we will make the leap for public and personal health.
Think global, act local in your settlement. The sovereign element, farmers, growers and residents. Clean, lean, green development. The sovereign element. Think